Hamas has been at this game. They are some of the experts at hostage terrorism. And I hate to say this, I fear that there's now these goodwill gesture hostage videos being released. But if Israel starts the ground offensive, you will see some execution videos, sadly. In my 20 years of tracking hostage-taking incidents from around the world, in particular ones involving jihadist groups like Hamas, I cannot recall any environment that will be more challenging for hostage rescue missions. We did pull them off in Iraq and Afghanistan and Africa, but not in an environment like Gaza. Gaza is one of the most densely packed communities, cities anywhere in the world, regions anywhere in the world. You've got 16,000 people per square mile. And the key to a hostage rescue mission is getting in stealthily. You don't want to, as soon as actions of the objective start trying to do the rescue itself, you've now compromised yourself. And the challenge is getting into the target, which would be very hard in the environment that Gaza is in. Unlike Iraq and Afghanistan or even Syria, we didn't have operating bases. And we have to assume that the intelligence, the vaunted intelligence of the Israelis, obviously had a catastrophic failure on October 7th. So we don't know exactly to what level they know of the tunnels, where we presume most of the hostages, if not all of them, are being held. And it will be a planning nightmare for any hostage rescue force trying to attempt a rescue mission. Most hostage rescue missions, honestly, you're going after one or two people, a handful. This scale and scope has not been seen since the Beslan school kidnapping hostage-taking incident, or the Moscow theater. These are huge numbers, and until we found out intelligence from one of the women that was released a couple of days ago, she said she was held with 25 others. You could have presumed that there are 200 different hostage holding locations, so 200 different missions need to be planned to this. So critical intelligence to find out, where they located, if they can determine that through intelligence and other collection measures. But it's going to be a very daunting task, regardless if it's, if it was 200 all in one room or one area, and you can presume that they have been spread out over Gaza. So this is going to be extraordinarily challenged for mission planning, and the odds of pulling off a successful hostage rescue in Gaza, I'm afraid to say, will not be high. The odds will be stacked against hostage rescue forces and in favor of the terrorists that are holding these hostages. I think Israel eventually is going to have to go in. They cannot delay the inevitable. They have to go in and root out Hamas. Obviously, that puts the hostages' lives at risk. We know that Hamas uses their own people as human shields, and now they have 220 foreigners, including a large portion of Israeli citizens. But nonetheless, Israel is adamant that they have to root out Hamas, and that will require boots on the ground and tanks rolling into Gaza. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So Hamas is using hostage terrorism very effectively. They are playing the cards they have, which are these hostages, and in ones and twos releases where they're keeping the IDF and the offensive that is in the works and massing on the border right now in check. And for every day that Hamas slows down and prevents the IDF from going on, they're winning. And they're winning on the world stage. They're winning in the stage of public opinion. And that's why they're going to continue to leverage these hostages as they've been doing very effectively. For Hamas to release two sets of women, and an American mother-daughter combination, and then two older senior elderly Israeli women, a 79 and an 85-year-old, all done for PR, positive press. They're trying to show the world that their hostages are being treated well, that they're trying to go against the grain of what the world saw on October 7th. They're trying to change that narrative. They're currying world favor. There's two battles right now, the one that's looming here in Gaza between Israeli and Hamas fighters, and the one on the world stage. And right now, Hamas is playing playing this role very well. Everything they're doing is scripted. Every image you're seeing of the hostages being either medically treated with bandages, or being fed, or being cared for as they're being escorted to an ambulance to their release. But that's all show. Hamas, they are wolves in sheep's clothing, and anything that they release is left for an intention to try and win world favor. But in reality, they are only treating these hostages well because these hostages are their only bargaining chip they have right now. But the hardcore groups like, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, ISIL, and Hamas, they can be ruthless in their execution. And I hate to say this, I fear that there's now these goodwill gesture hostage videos being released, but if Israel starts the ground offensive, you will see some execution videos, sadly. And so my heart goes out to all the family members, and in particular the hostages. But a miracle. It's going to be a miracle. It will be a miracle if all 220 odd hostages come home safely. Everyone is looking at these humanitarian gestures by Hamas releasing these hostages, and everyone is thinking, well, maybe the hostages will survive. Maybe things are turning around, and it's a positive sign. Don't fool yourself. Hamas, they are wolves in sheep's clothing. They are doing this for one gain and one gain only, to extend the delay of the Israeli Defense Force offensive, which is going to happen any day. Hamas has been at this game. They are some of the experts at hostage terrorism. And I will say 20 odd years ago in Fallujah, when the Marines went in and they recovered a room, one of the houses where the hostages had been killed and beheaded. And in that house, they found a hostage training manual written by Hamas. And the title on this Hamas hostage training manual, the title was, "Don't look for lions when there are plenty of sheep to be found." And that, again, was a hostage terrorism model, a kidnapping manual that was probably written 20 years prior. So Hamas intentionally went after grandparents and grandchildren and families, mothers and fathers. That was their intent. It goes back to their doctrine. So be very cautious. Hamas, everything they're doing is calculated for a reason, but they are ruthless, and they need to be treated as such and given no quarter. Hamas, like many Islamic jihadist groups in the past, use hostage terrorism as a way to negotiate with the West. These hostages were intentionally grabbed. It was part of their strategy. And now this brutal, barbaric tactic, capturing innocent men, women, grandparents, and grandchildren, and holding them hostage, has captured the world's attention, because it is just very stark. It is a new turn in warfare that it presents so many challenges for Israel, the coalition forces, and we know that of the 220 captured, there's over 30 countries represented. So this is something that is playing out on the world stage. Hamas has been very effective at this, and every day they delay the Israeli ground offensive, it's a win for Hamas, and that's why we can see this hostage drama. It's going to play out in the days, weeks, and months to come. I can speak from experience about knowing and being involved in the hostage rescue missions in Iraq and from 04 to 06. Very challenging times, very, very, seemingly impossible odds, but we did pull off some hostage rescue missions. But Gaza presents challenges that we haven't seen anywhere. We don't have any forward operating bases. We helicopters flying around at night would bring suspicion. And there's really no friendlies in Gaza. And it's not like it's an isolated compound where you can come in stealthily in the middle of the night or early morning hours and surprise the enemy. There's going to be people on every corner, presumably gunmen standing over every hostage location. And the moment they hear anything, we can presume the first thing they're going to do is kill the hostage. So this hostage rescue scenario in Gaza is unlike anything the world has ever seen, and it will be extraordinarily challenging to pull off a rescue. But if anyone can do it, I guarantee it's the special operations forces that are being assembled in the area to go do that very mission if they get the green light.